the Indian polity, important articles of the Constitution at a glance. Articles deal with first name and territory of the Union. Article number 1, name and territory of the Union. Article number 3, formation of new states and alteration of areas, boundaries or names of existing states. Article number 3, laws inconsistent. Article number 13, laws inconsistent with or in derogation of the fundamental rights. Article 14, equality before law. Article 16, equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. Article 17, abolition of untouchability. Article 19, protection of certain rights, recording freedom of speech, etc. Article 21, protection of life and personal liberty. Article 21A, right to elementary education. Article 25, freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion. Article 30, right of minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. Article 31C, saving of laws giving effect to certain directive principles. Article 32, remedies for enforcement of fundamental rights including writs. Article 38, state to secure a social order for the promotion of welfare of the people. Article 40, organization of village panchayats. Article 44, uniform civil code for the citizens. Article 45, provision for early childhood care and education to children below the age of 6 years. Article 46, promotion of educational and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other weaker sections. Article 50, separation of judiciary from executive. Article 51, promotion of international peace and security. Article 51A, fundamental duties. Article 72, power of president to grant pardons, etc. and to suspend, remit or commute sentences in certain cases. Article 74, council of ministers to aid and advise the president. Article 78, duties of prime minister as respects the furnishing of information to the president, etc. Article 110, definition of money bills. Article 112, annual financial statement, budget. Article 123, power of president to promulgate ordinances during recess of parliament. Article 143, power of president to consult Supreme Court. Article 155, appointment of governor. Article 161, power of governor to grant pardons, etc. and to suspend, remit or commute sentences in certain cases. Article 163, council of ministers to aid and advise the governor. Article 167, duties of chief minister with regard to the furnishing of information to governor, etc. Article 169, abolition or creation of legislative councils in states. Article 200, assent to bills by governor, including reservation for president. Article 213, power of governor to promulgate ordinances during recess of the state legislature. Article 236, power of high courts to issue certain writs. Article 239AA, special provisions with respect to Delhi. Article 239AA, special provisions with respect to Delhi. Article 249, power of parliament to legislate with respect to a matter in the state list in the national interest. Article 262, adjudication of dispute relating to waters of interstate rivers or river valleys. Article 263, provision with respect to an interstate council. Article 265, taxes not to be imposed save by authority of law. Article 275, grants from the Union to certain states. Article 280, Finance Commission. Article 300, suits and proceedings. Article 300A, persons not to be deprived of property save by authority of law. Right to property. Article 311, dismissal, removal or reduction in rank of persons employed in civil capacities under the union or a state. Article 312, All India Services. Article 315, Public Service Commissions for the Union and the States and for the States. Article 320, Functions of Public Service Commissions. Article 323A, Administrative Tribunals. Article 324, Superintendence, Direction and Control of Elections to be vested in an Election Commission. Article 330, Reservation of seats for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in the House of the People. Article 335, Claims of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes to services and post. Article 352, Proclamation of Emergency, National Emergency. Article 356, Provisions in case of failure of constitutional machinery in states. The President's rule. Article 360, Provisions as to financial emergency. Article 365, Effect of failure to comply with or to give effect to directions given by the Union. President's rule. Article 368, Power of Parliament to amend the Constitution and procedure therefore. Article 370, Temporary provisions with respect to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Next, schedules of the Constitution at a glance. First schedule. Subject matter. Names of the states and their territorial jurisdiction. Article 1 and 4. Second schedule. Provisions relating to the emoluments, allowances, privileges and so on. Articles 59, 65, 75, 97, 125, 148, 158, 164, 186, 221. Number 1, the President of India, the Governors of States, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha, the Chairman and the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the Legislative Assembly in the states, the Chairman and the Deputy Chairman of the Legislative Council in the states, the Judges of the Supreme Court, the Judges of the High Courts, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Third schedule. Forms of oaths or affirmation for the first one, the Union Ministers, the candidates for election to the Parliament, the members of Parliament, the Judges of the Supreme Court, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, the State Ministers, the candidates for election to the Legislature, the members of the State Legislature, the Judges of the High Courts. Articles 75, 84, 99, 124, 146, 173, 188, 219. Fourth schedule. Allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha to the states and the Union, 4 and 8 territories. Allocation of seats in the Rajya Sabha to the states and the Union territories. Article only 4 and 80. Fifth schedule. Provisions relating to the administration and control of scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Article 244. Sixth schedule. Provisions relating to the administration of tribal areas in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Article 244 and 275. Seventh schedule. Division of powers between the Union and the states in terms of List 1, Union List, List 2, State List and List 3, Concurrent List. Presently, the Union List contains 100 subjects, originally 97. The State List contains 61 subjects, originally 66, and the Concurrent List contains 52 subjects, originally 47. Articles 246. Then 8th schedule. Languages recognized by the Constitution. Originally it had 14 languages, but presently there are 22 languages. They are Assamese, Bengali, Bodo, Dongri, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, Maithili, Malayalam, Manipuri, Marathi, Nepali, Odia, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Sandali, Sindhi, Tamil, Telugu and Urdu. Sindhi was added by the 21st Amendment Act of 1967. Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali were added by the 71st Amendment Act of 1992, and Bodo, Dongri, Maithili and Sandali were added by the 92nd Amendment Act of 2003. Oriya was renamed as Odia by the 96th Amendment Act of 2011. Then the article for 8th schedule is Article 344 and 351. The 9th schedule. Acts and regulations, originally 13 but presently 282, of the state legislatures dealing with land reforms and abolition of the zamindari system, and of the parliament dealing with other matters. This schedule was added by the First Amendment 1951 to protect the laws included in it from the judicial scrutiny on the ground of violation of fundamental rights. However, in 2007, the Supreme Court ruled that the laws included in this article after 24 April 1973 are now open to judicial review. The laws included in this schedule, 9th schedule, after April 24, 1973 are now open to judicial review. Then 10th schedule, provisions relating to disqualifications of the members of parliament and state legislatures on the ground of defection. This schedule was added by the 52nd Amendment Act of 1985, also known as Anti-Defection Law. Articles relating to 10th schedule are 102 and 191. Article relating to 9th schedule is 31B. Then 11th schedule specifies the powers and authority of responsibilities of panchayats. It has 22 matters. This schedule was added by the 73rd Amendment Act of 1992, Article 243G. Then 12th schedule specifies the powers, authority and responsibilities of municipalities. It has 18 matters. This schedule was added by the 74th Amendment Act of 1992, Article 243W. Okay. That's all about this salient features, that is articles and schedules. In the next class we will see the sources of the Indian Constitution.